CFNY's 1993 New Music Search compilation is most noteworthy for Head upsetting Lowest of the Low. Lowest of the Low had submitted Gamble, a song produced by FOTM Bob Wiseman. Now, this is not the Gamble you know from Hallucigenia. This is a version that predates that, but was recorded after Shakespeare My Butt. Got it? Got it. Now, members of the band, Lowest of the Low, were assured, it was a shoo-in, they were going to win the 1993 New Music Search competition and $100,000. But when the winner was announced, Head was the victor, thanks to their song Happy. Here's Lowest of the Low founder and lead singer and principal songwriter Ron Hawkins telling me about this during his visit with Lawrence Nichols for episode 1361 of Toronto Mic'd, recorded in November 2023. Okay, so here's the quick detour because I'm, healthily and mildly obsessed with the 1993 New Music Search contest from CFNY. And I recently had Hayden over here because Hayden entered with a song called Take, but he was too shy to sing. He didn't think he was a good singer, so he had Noah Mintz sing his part and Take's on there. But I'm going to play, all set to go here. I'm going to play.
Wait, is that true? That's not Hayden singing?
It's not Hayden singing on Take.
Oh.
I know. See? Break. Yeah, that's Noah Mintz singing on Take.
Oh.
So Hayden wrote that and he plays guitar on that, but that's Noah Mintz singing on Take. I know. I thought it was Hayden Forever.
Wow. I gotta go. I gotta go process this.
His mind is blown, and that's what we do here on Toronto Mike. We blow minds. I like Take for what it's worth. I told Hayden he should put that on an album. Like, just re-record Take and stick it on an album.
Or maybe get Noah to come and sing it again. You know.
They were high school buds at Thornley Collegiate. That's how that all goes down. They were in a band together in high school. All right, now, so this is the original, I guess, so this is not the album version. This is the
Bob Wiseman version.
But, have you heard Bob Wiseman on Toronto Mike?
Actually, no, I haven't.
Okay,
you got Bob
he
Wiseman?
dropped by for an hour.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we talked about him producing this. Bob Wiseman's very interesting on Toronto Mike because, didn't seem like, I don't know, he was, I enjoyed the chat, but he, I don't know if he loved being here. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you got to listen to Bob Wiseman on Toronto Mike. Okay. That's your homework here. Gamble. So Bob Wiseman produces this. This gets entered. So let me hear from you guys for a minute here. You end up can you ask me like how did it work back then? Did somebody at CFNY suggest you enter? Did you enter? Like, give me the nuts and bolts, and then we'll talk about.
I don't think Ron's going to remember any of this.
Do you remember anything about the 1993 New Music Search on CFNY?
This track, this will tell you the state of the band, or the state of me and the band at the time. Is the band kept telling me that we recorded some tracks with Bobby Wiseman, and I was like, no. Like, I remember we talked about it and we were planning on it, but we never did it. And they were like, Ron, we were in the studio for 2 days with Bobby Wiseman, and we recorded 3 songs.
So was that? Were you on drugs? Like, was this
yes.
a sub? Okay.
Maybe not at the time. I mean, certainly not when I was recording, I'm sure, but probably on either side. So, yeah, and that's kind of shocking to me. Like, wow, that's not good when you have an entire experience like that.
No, that's not good.
But so I don't remember doing it, but there it is. There's the documentary evidence.
I have the evidence.
And then I don't know what happened. I don't know how it gets picked for those. I just knew that we were. Do you know how that used to happen?
I mean, I think you did have to enter.
And who would have, like, maybe Frank Weipert would have entered us or something, or a
was
manager?
Frank there? Yeah, or Sandy and Skinny?
By 93, I would think it would be Frank, but I don't know.
But this is before you went to Vancouver. This would have been 92, actually, right? Because you didn't. Sorry, this is the 93
So I had this. I still have my original CD. This is the 1993 New Music Search.
Yeah, I think I have that one.
This
as
also
well.
ties into Art Bergman, because Art had become a good friend of mine, and he was hanging out with us, and me and my then girlfriend Kathleen in Toronto in Kensington Market, and we went, and he had a couple shows before the presentation at Roy Thompson Hall. And so Kathleen and I made a promise to each other. We're going to go to the art show tonight, but that's it. And then we're going to go home because I have this big thing to do on Sunday. So this was Friday. And of course, everyone listening knows how it went. We went to the art show. We went to an after party. We did a lot of drugs. We went to the art show the next night, went to an after party. And by the time we got to Roy Thompson Hall, I'd been up for 2 days straight. And I was like, well, now I can't just go to Futures and drink a lot of coffee because I can't go to sleep now. I'll never wake up, right? And we won't make it. And then the Low had this plan, which was that the CBC for some reason let us into their wardrobe department to get all these fuchsia and hot pink suits, which we wore, jackets and stuff like this. And we had planned this entire sort of theater art piece, which is that if we didn't win, we were going to stand up and make a giant scene in Roy Thompson Hall and storm off, and and we were robbed, and they actually make a. And so I don't know who, maybe one of our girlfriends or two of our girlfriends, somebody said, you guys come up with these ideas that you think are hilarious, and maybe they're not, maybe they're just really stupid ideas, and you guys will be entertained for a minute, but
they're easily misunderstood, right?
So we didn't do it, but the reason I'm bringing that up is because I think at the same presentation, Art won. Did he win? No, he was up for an award for his then record on Polygram, which I think was just called Art Bergman. And he played American Wife, I think he recited the lyrics to American Wife baffled everybody out there. And then the beautiful part of this story is that we, after being told for months by everybody, including people inside CFNY and stuff like that we were a shoo-in and we were definitely going to win this thing. And we kept saying, hold off. We don't want to be carrying that around. We didn't win it, and Head won it. And those guys were so lovely that I can't remember who it was that stopped me in the hall. It was probably Brendan. Said, they were shocked that they won. They thought for sure we were going to win. And they said, if you guys have gone out on a limb and bought a van or something because you were already spending the money, they said, we'll loan you the money, interest free, and you can pay us back when you can and stuff like this. And I was like, wow, that's Toronto. That's the Toronto community at the time, To
be fair, he also probably thought you spent a lot on those suits.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, I know you've been doing a lot of drugs, and that had to cost you a lot.
They're not cheap, yeah.
Now, okay, so do you remember who at CFNY said you've got this in the bag? Somebody, do you remember?
Well, I remember Bookie sort of winking, Yeah, it was sort of like it was a done deal. It's almost like the postman was, bringing my mail. Oh, way to go, Ron! You guys are going to win. Go to Arby's. It just seemed like everywhere we went, somebody was telling us we're going to win this money. Right? And $100,000. Imagine, now it would be a lot of money, but then it was for us, it would have been.
Well, wasn't it 50?
$50? $50 would have been a lot.
$50.
Okay, well, when Bare Naked Ladies won, it was $100,000 because they made Gordon with that money, and I've got that on the record. I think it might have been $100,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it was an unfathomable amount of money to us, but.
And in the chronological order of things, if you're not a big Low fan, this is post Shakespeare My Butt. So, and by the way, in your doc, I loved it when Stephen Page's dad and brother are in the doc because they made a comment that they put out the yellow tape by Bare Naked Ladies and then distributed Shakespeare My Butt, and people started to think that they had an ear for the next big thing. They started thinking they knew what was going on, but it was just a complete fluke of events that they were both big albums here. Okay, but. So you think you've got this in the bag. I'm going to play a little bit. I'll turn it up, I should say.
Is this Happy? Is that what this is? Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Head has 2 H's in it, just
yes.
We know love is best. We have grown to detest the one thing we were looking for. We are one the same.
Let them say Happy again before I bring it in.
Just a frame hangs above a locked door. Could we be happy? Could we be happy?
You could have got Noah on a technicality. I don't think you were allowed to sing on 2 entries. Is it too late?
Not too late to litigate, is it?
That's right. You were robbed. I was robbed, I tells you.
And again, I like to cross-promote. There's a really interesting episode of Toronto Mic'd with Noah Mintz where we kind of go through a lot of this. And Noah Mintz and Brendan Canyon, like you mentioned, are the core of Head with 2 H's. And this is the song Happy. And this is the song that wins that contest.
Who's playing the drums there? That snare sound is great. I really I don't even know who's
I'll find out
Head's
for you.
drummer.
Hayden.
Yeah, it's Hayden.
He's just playing the snare.
Yeah.
Lawrence Nichols wants to know who is playing the drums on that song. Well, here's a fun fact. Their drummer was parachuted in from King Cobb Steely.
We did a song heavily influenced by King Cobb Steely, and that was Happy. And we even had the percussion player from King Cobb Steely play on it.
Wow.
And I still think it's one of our best songs. Like, it wasn't like a hit song or a like, you know, radio friendly song, but I think it was a well-written song that Brennan and I equally wrote.
I owned the 1993 New Music Search CD. It was in my collection, and I loved both Gamble and Happy. But my favorite song on that compilation was Hayden's Take. For the longest time, I just assumed Take was sung by Hayden Desser because that's what it said in the liner notes. And I read the liner notes. Well, the mind blow, which you might have heard in a previous clip, is that it was actually Noah Mintz from Head on lead vocals. Noah and Hayden were good friends from Thornlea Collegiate, where they met and formed a band. Here's a little from Noah Mintz about his friendship with Hayden, who he knew as Paul. This is from episode 785, recorded in January 2021.
And the guitar player would always wear a hat, like would never, it was like sort of a bowler hat, would never take it off and would wear like black and white and sit in the hallways, play guitar. And that was Paul Desser, now known as Hayden.
Wow.
And I was like, these are my guys. These are the guys. These are the guitar,
Your people.
the music nerds I want to be in a band with. And they're like, do you like REM? I'm like, I like REM. Do you like REM? And they're like, yeah, we like REM. And they listed off a bunch of other bands I didn't care for, like Peter Gabriel and Rush and all the prog rock stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we can work on that. But we have a mutual, it wasn't mutual affection towards REM. And it wasn't Sway particularly that we were going to audition or planning for, but we basically became a band to play the lunchtime concert.
Wow.
That was our very first gig. And I think we did Pride in the Name of Love, U2. I don't think I actually sang that one because I was just in the band for a week. But then we did a version of, if I remember correctly, it was Superman, REM's cover of Superman.
Right.
I am Superman and I can do anything. And that like basically cemented a friendship between Josh Malinsky, Mitch Roth, Adam Fingert, Gavin Brown on drums, who we can talk about in a minute, and Paul Desser, better known as Hayden.
Wow.
And we all became like super good buds. And we had found Gavin, who was in grade 9 at the time. I was in grade 12 and they were in grade 11 and Gavin was in grade 9. And Gavin ended up, like, let's sort of fast forward with Gavin. Gavin, when he ended up quitting our band, he joined Flag Camp, which was Eric Chenot and Sean Dean, Sean of the Sadies.
Wow. Yeah.
And Flag Camp were already playing like shows stateside at that time. They were super into hardcore and they were doing pretty cool music. And so when we broke up in our first year together, our band was called Entangled, and we broke up for like a week.
Right.
Like, you know, we had like a band meeting and decided we were like irreconcilable differences, and we broke up. And then after a week, we were like, I can't live without you. But then Gavin didn't want to join back up because Gavin already joined up with Flag Camp.
Wow.
So we found a drummer actually in Unionville, and we practiced for our very first gig in Brampton, right beside the CFNY building.
Wow. Yeah.
At a place called Spanky's. And we even had a dress rehearsal where we all dressed up exactly how we were going to dress on stage.
Right.
And we showed up for that gig, and it was closed. The venue was closed when we showed up for our first gig. Like literally closed down. They didn't bother to tell us, of course.
Right.
So that was our first not happening gig. Our second not happening gig was we were actually opening up for Tall New Buildings at Thornhill Park.
Okay.
It was like Thornhill Day or something. And we were to bring the drums. So we showed up, and this is the story I told John when I was really drunk. And And we showed up and set up and did a little kind of sound check. We left our drums on stage because we brought the drums for Tall New Buildings.
Right.
And then we see Tall New Buildings walking towards us across the field. And they just got back from Germany, and they were wearing what was like really cool in Europe at the time. These like super baggy white t-shirts, and then super baggy jeans that were super rolled up.
Right.
And I was like, look, and they look like, super cool and douchey at the same time. And so like John kind of walks up to me. He's like, hey, we just got back from Germany. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. Anyway, he's like, so we got a gig at the Bamboo tonight. And I'm like, yeah, again, I don't care. That's cool. And he's like, so we got to get down and sound check for that. So that's why we had you to bring your drums. I'm like, all right, whatever. And he's like, yeah, so Noah says you're going to go on after us. What? He's like, you're going to go on after us because we got a gig at the Bamboo tonight, downtown Toronto. I'm like, yeah. I go, we're like, this is our first show. We're not going to go on after you. He's like, that's the way it is, man. That's how it works in this business. So I'm like, all right, band meeting. And then we all got together, and I told them what was going on, and Josh Malinsky was like, Gomeshi. I remember, and what do you want to do? And he's like, Hayden's like, I don't want to play. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to play either. I don't want our first gig to be like after Tall New Buildings where all their douchey friends go home. And I'm like, forget it. I'm like, are we going to cancel our first gig? He's like, yeah. It's like, so I'm like, so fine. So I went to Jean. I'm like, hey man, we're going to go home and we're going to take our drums. And he's like, we need your drums to play. I'm like, sorry, man, we don't want to go on after you, so we're not going to play. It's like, you're never going to play in this town again. In my head, that's what he said. I don't know. And imagine me really drunk, like dating his best friend at the time, and you're such an asshole. We took our drums and we went home. We're like, fuck you. It's like. And he's like, John's like, I don't even remember this, man. I'm like, what happened?
Man, I love the Gian Gomeshi stories in that episode. That's a great Gian Gomeshi story. Now, more from Noah Mintz on how he came to sing on Hayden's 1993 CFNY New Music Search submission, Take. Man, okay. Now, we're going to pause there and come back, but we got to go back to Hayden and that same disc that you won for. So I'm gonna lead us off by playing a little bit of the convo I had with Ash from Ubiquitous Energy Seeker on my show.
Sure.
And this is the last, literally your episode 785 and this was 784. So here's a bit of Ash.
I was greatly inspired by, the early 90s Toronto indie rock scene. That's, Treble Charger, Change of Heart, Head, Hayden, all of those bands. So I had a family connection to Noah Mintz, who now has a mastering studio, but he was in a band called Head. Of
course.
Which also, Head. Yeah. So Head had Brendan Canning in it, which then Broken Social Scene. So, as a songwriter, Noah was like a massive influence on me, Noah Mintz. And so when his band won the 102.1 Discovery to Disc contest, won $100,000 in 92 or something.
Yeah.
And they recorded an album called Jerk that got shelved. And then Head disappeared. And so I brought him out. We played a song called Porno Star Trek. We played Hollow Point. Right. And then at that night at the Casby's, we played a second song. And I got Noah to come and I invited him. And he played lead guitar, my hero. Got to play lead guitar, and I just got to get this is what you deserved.
Wow.
But you back in the major label days when they would just shelf your album because they're like, this won't sell.
Right.
And game over.
So there you go. Ashley Buchholz. Awesome. Now in that same episode, I didn't pull this clip, but we talked about Take because Ash and I are both love Hayden's Take from that same disc, that 93 Discovery to Disc CFNY put out. In fact, I'll just let people know if they go back and listen to USS on episode 784, like Ash breaks out his guitar and me and him do a duet of Take. Like this happens, okay? But he drops the bomb, and apparently it's well known, but I need to get the definitive story here. In fact, you know what? It's my show. This is what I'm doing, Noah. I'm going to play a bit of Take. Love that song. And then we're going to talk about your involvement in this particular song. So here's a bit of Take.
Take me home. Take me with you. Take me home. Take a part of me. Take all of me. Come with me. Get away from me. Please agree with me. Disagree with me. Come with me. Get away from me.
Break it down a bit. Noah, who's on lead vocals in this jam right here?
Oh, that's me. So I'm singing that song because Hayden's first concept was to write a bunch of songs and have other people sing them. That was going to be hit. That was what Hayden was going to be.
Right. You're right. Like, yeah. And there's a lot of artists like that. I'm thinking Never Ending White Lights or something like that. It's one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like, was this known at the time, or is this something that, like, I just don't know how I missed it. Like, because we all thought that was Hayden. Now I listen back and I'm like, that's Noah Mintz. But at the time, 100%, I thought Hayden was singing this song.
So because we were on the album, the CFNY album, and Hayden didn't tell me he was even submitting it, he didn't say it was me. So I got kind of pissed off because I was like, I thought he'd jeopardize our chance to be on the album because I have double entry.
Right.
But he didn't even list me as the person. So
that's why there was no credit. It was just basically this was Take by Hayden, essentially.
I'll tell you a funny story. We were
please.
Hayden and I were at Eden Fest.
Right.
Do you remember that famous show?
We talk about it all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so Head played it. It was our last show, and Hayden and I were just walking around, and then we just come up on these guys. They're playing guitar, and then all of a sudden they don't see us, but all of a sudden they break into Take.
Right.
And we just sort of stand there watching them, and just like, and then they stop playing it, and they're like, one guy goes, "Who is that?" He's like, "Oh, that's Hayden's song." And then the other guy goes, "Yeah, but doesn't Noah Mintz sing that song?" He's like, "Yeah, I think so." And we're like standing like 4 feet away from them, and I'm like, "Should we say something?" And he's like, "Nah, let's just keep walking." I'm like, "Yeah."
You know, I think part of the reason guys like me break into that song is because it's an easy to sing song. Like, I feel like I'm not much of a singer. You're a much better singer than I am, but I can kind of do the Take delivery. But I think it's a fun fact for anyone who, you know, in the 90s thought that was Hayden doing Take. It's a fun fact that it's actually Noah Mintz doing Take. And then the great like contrast between your voice and the woman's voice, Lorraine Urso Marzo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's you and Lorraine. It
was Hayden, one of Hayden's best friends at the time, and she's an awesome human being.
And here's how Hayden remembers it. This is from episode 1336, recorded in October 2023. Let's start with this. I need the definitive story. So I know you're like, oh God, he's going to play it. Yeah, I'm going to play it. And you're going to talk about it. And shout out to FOTM Noah Mintz. I know you don't like the shout outs, but I do the shout outs. But let's listen to a bit of this and I got questions for you. You can't leave now. I gave you lasagna.
Take me home.
Also, I enjoy this song.
Take
even if you don't.
Me with you. Take me home. Take a part of me. Take all of me. Come with me. Get away from me. Please agree with me. Disagree with me. Come with me. Get away from me.
Okay, this is Take. I have questions. All right. Is this part of your submission for what, a CFNY new music search competition?
Yes.
Okay, what do you remember? Like why did you enter, and do you remember what the prize was? Like, what do you remember from that? I think it's a 1993 new music search.
Well, I remember a couple things. I slowed down or even stopped playing music and writing music when I went to Ryerson for radio and television. And during that time, Noah, who was playing in Head with Brendan Canning, they started doing quite well, and I would go to their shows, and it was just a really fun situation, and the whole grunge scene was happening. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting time, and I don't know. I it's possible I was inspired by how much fun Noah was having, because we were quite close, and then also what was happening with the East Coast at the time. It just inspired me to maybe to want to play music again, basically, because I was focused on filmmaking. I had done some music videos for Noah's band as well.
Hold on, pausing you for a moment, because Rob Johnston, did write in when he heard you were coming on Toronto Mike. He wrote me a note to say, my good classmate from RTA. I remember when he would bring his guitar and gear into the audio studios. So Robbie J remembers you might have been dabbling at RTA.
Yeah, see, that's funny, because God, I'm not known for my memory. Let's just say that. But I don't remember. It's funny that it's quite possible. I mean, I'm not going to doubt him, but yeah, I don't remember that. I always felt they were separate, but maybe towards the end of RTA I did start playing again.
So your good friend from Thornlea, Noah Mintz, who's been on this program, people can find Thornlea's, which is a great episode, by the way, because there was a lot of Gian Gomeshi stories in the Noah Mintz episode of Toronto.
Well, Noah's awesome, so I'm not surprised. It was a great episode.
You guys still close? Still friends?
Yes, we are, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so people can go there to hear all the details, but one fact that is kind of a mind blow if you were there in 93. So that's on, so speaking of Head has Happy. Happy's on that 93 new music search CD, and Hayden's Take, and that's not you singing on Take, is it?
No, I was
like chord.
Yeah, I was doing a long-winded explanation.
Oh no.
Anyway, I guess I was getting to why Noah is singing on that song. Is okay. I borrowed. I think I lent Noah an electric guitar for one of his tours, and he either lost it or broke it, so that when I asked for it back, he gave me an acoustic guitar back. I believe this is what happened. And I also borrowed a 4-track recorder from him. And because I had an acoustic guitar for the first time since I was like 13, I had my first guitar my parents bought me an acoustic guitar at 13, but I sold it a year later for a digital delay pedal because I was really into the Edge from U2.
Of course.
Anyway, because I had an acoustic guitar, I started playing and recording in my parents' basement. And that being said, I was never the singer of my high school band. I never really sang much at all. So when it came time, I wrote this Take song, and I decided to get Noah to sing it, and our friend Lorraine Ursamarzo, who
she's great.
Is great and a great friend, who ended up, when I started playing shows at places like Future Bakery and the Rivoli and stuff, Lorraine would sing, and other people would sing my songs, and I would just play. So
for a period of time, was that maybe the plan, that you were going to be like, have guest singers like Mike and the Mechanics or whatever? You just bring in these like other people to sing your songs?
I guess so. I guess I don't know if I thought my voice was terrible. I just didn't see myself as a singer.
Interesting.
And then I believe I had booked a show, and a couple of people that were supposed to sing didn't show up, and I was like, okay, I guess I have to sing. And then a couple of people in the audience, like the only 2 people that were in the audience, were like, oh yeah, that sounded pretty good. Yeah. And then that was all it took. And then I was like, fire,
Noah.
fire all the singers. I'm the lead singer.
Yeah, you can do it yourself. You don't need him anymore. That's like Noel Gallagher, right? When Liam wouldn't show up, and then Noel have to sing the songs and realize, he could do it fine. He wrote them. He can sing them.
Right. Yeah.
You're Noel Gallagher, man. You're the Canada's Noel.
Thank you.
It could be worse. Okay. So that's meant to be a comment. So who wins? Do you have any recollection? You don't win this new music search in 1993 from CFNY.
No, because Noah's band won. Yeah, they won $100,000.
Now remember, $100,000 was at stake, and Ron and the guys from Lowest of the Low were told it was a done deal, but Head surprised everyone and took home the big prize. Here's Head's Noah Mintz talking about the big win.
We performed it live on stage that night, and my equipment was breaking down. My amp was cutting in and out. And we just performed it the best we could. We literally flew in just for the show because we were in Vancouver the night before, and we played our hearts out. I mean, everybody knew, and this is honest. Everybody knew Lowest of the Low were going to win. Like everybody knew.
Right.
Like there was no doubt.
Right.
And when they announced it, I just had this like flush of adrenaline, like a second before. And it was like, wait, maybe Lowest of the Low won't win.
Right.
Like it was just this. And then they said our band's name and we won. And it was like, we weren't prepared to win. We were super surprised. We felt we kind of cheated Lowest of the Low because they were such a successful band.
Right.
I think CFNY just saw us as like a band with a lot of potential, and we did. Like we could have done a lot better than we did if we, pursued things a little better. If we didn't have a couple things that we didn't make some bad. They weren't bad decisions. They're just decisions that didn't turn out the right way. So we did have potential for sure. We just didn't see it.
Hayden's Take was sung by Noah Mintz, who also sung the winning Happy for Head. And this mind blow was intentionally kept on the down low, likely for fear of being disqualified for singing 2 songs in the competition. The secret is out, and it's now a fun 90s can rock factoid. And CFNY has yet to ask for the $100,000 back. Of course, with the sad financial state of affairs at Chorus these days, that request may be imminent. If you enjoyed this Can Rock deep dive, you'll also enjoy my episode 1310 on Sloan's Underwhelmed and episode 1367 on Rusty's Wake Me.
Take me home. Take me with you. Take me home. Take a part of me. Take all of me. Come with me. Get away from me. Please agree with me. Disagree with me. Come with me. Get away from me. I need you. I don't need you. I need you. Take a part of me. Take all of me. Come with me. Disagree with me. Please agree with me. Take all of me. Take a part of me. Stay away from me. Take a part of me.
People tell me I'm insane.
Take all of me.
Out of sane to love you.
Come with
I
me.
love you. I don't love
Get
you.
away from
Ryan,
me.
You don't love me.
Please
You can't
agree
love
with
me.
me.
You hate me.
Disagree
you
with
despise
me.
You're killing
Come
me.
with
You
me.
keep me alive. You
Get
take
away
me
from
home.
me.